Mr Digby.
Morning, Thelma.
There you are.
Careful.
Oh, is anything wrong?
Oh, my ankle was savaged yesterday afternoon, very badly bitten.
Oh, not the corgi again.
My youngest boy. What's his name?
Robin.
Robin, that's right, yes. As soon as he came home from Sunday school, he made a beeline for my feet. My wife put it down to religious fervour, but I think he was born vicious.
To think he was so worried about his teeth when he was young.
And if he's like this now, what will he be like when he's, say, 16?
But is he still determined to be a werewolf when he leaves school?
He has set his heart on it.
Oh, well, he'll grow out of it. Now then, you mustn't let your weekend get on top of you. You're at work now. Relax.
Thelma, isn't it extraordinary? Every morning I come in here stuffing myself with cornflakes. I've never noticed that there before.
Well, I only put it up 5 minutes ago.
Did you really? Well, it's a very welcome addition.
Oh, good. I'm glad you like it.
Home is where the heart is. My word, the man who first thought of that, he really hit the nail on the head, didn't he? Hearth and home, wife and kids, part of the fabric of living.
Oh. Mr Digby's secretary? Oh, yes, he is. Part of the fabric, your wife.
Eleanor, I wondered when you'd ring. I've only been in the office about 5 minutes. You're running it a bit fine this morning. Shopping? Yes. All right, I'll get a pencil. Right, far away. Have we run out of that again? I'll get another roll. All right, dear, I've got that. Bye-bye. Have a nice day. She's got the car, nothing to do all day, and she has to bother me to do the errands.
Oh, you mustn't be too hard on her. For someone who spends the morning in bed, she leads a very hard life. She doesn't mean to impose.
Of course she does. A shopping list as long as your arm. I don't know how you're going to carry it, Thelma. You better take 10 extra minutes for lunch and come back. You'll make 2 trips. Now then, let's grapple with the mail. Here we are. Yes. Dear Sir, Madam, bearing in mind that Ridderat is a long-established firm of pest exterminators, I thought my invention sent under separate cover. Yes, that'll be it. Yes, might be of particular interest. It is an effective way of dealing with rats and mice based on the premise that all rodents enjoy pitting their ingenuity against Homo sapiens. The battery-driven motor is easily operated by the average domestic rat. Oh, another crank.
Oh, look, that letter was addressed to Mr. Trumper. Oughtn't the manager to see it first?
Oh, no, he's always very pleased to take my advice.
Yes. Like that time when you said you had a dream that DDT was just a flash in the pan.
Mr. Trumper isn't the man to bear a grudge. He forgave me for that and forgot it years ago.
Shall I put this in the dustbin?
No, don't do that, Thelma. I'll have a quick sneer at it after lunch and then send it back. Good morning, Mr. Trumper, sir. What can we do for you?
Well, it was Miss Teasdale I came to see. Mr. Digby has sent in a most enthusiastic report about your work in this office.
Yes, I know. I typed it.
Now, you've been with Ridderat for, let me see, how long is it now?
Oh, I came in 1958.
1958, is it really? That was the year that Digby had that idiotic dream about DDT. Anyway, I've decided that from next Monday, you will be upgraded.
Oh, how lovely.
Yes, your salary will be increased by 3.5%, and you will be entitled to an extra week's leave.
Oh, Mr. Trump, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what to say. I mean, all that extra money. I should be able to get new soft furnishings for the office.
We can go mad, have the carpet shampooed.
Yes, and we can have the vacuum cleaner mended.
And I need a new suit.
Yes, well, before you both dash off on the shopping spree, there's one thing you should know. From Monday next, you will be on the 6th floor.
What? You mean leave Mr. Digby?
Well, obviously your talents are wasted in this office. You deserve a new secretarial post at executive level.
But I don't want to be at executive level. I want to stay down here at Mr. Digby's level.
Well, I'm sorry, Miss Teasdale. I'm very sorry, but all the arrangements are made. But, Digby, you mustn't think that you're going to be left high and dry. Clutterbuck and Groom, the employment agency, will be sending over a replacement, and I've suggested that she joins us today so that Miss Teasdale can show her the ropes.
Give her enough rope and she'll...
So all that remains is to say congratulations, Miss Teasdale.
Mr. Trump, I think I should say that it's a great mistake taking Miss Teasdale away from me.
Really?
Last night I had a dream. Well, it was more than a dream, really. It was a vision.
A vision? That settles it, then. I'll see you on Monday next, Miss Teasdale.
Well, that's charming, isn't it? 10 years slaving over a hot filing cabinet, darning your socks, getting the plastic redskins out of your cornflakes, and I'm to be replaced by some stupid teenager from Clutterbuck and Groom. I mean, will she warm your slippers, cook your breakfast, frizzle your bacon the way you like it? No, she will not.
After all, we shall see each other. Mornings in the lift, Friday afternoons arguing in the pay office, and then, if fate is kind, during the Paul Jones at the annual Christmas party.
Yes, but it won't be the same, Mr. Digby.
You're damn right it won't. Still, I suppose both of us always knew that it might end this way. Clutterbuck and Groom, does that ring a bell?
No, not to me, it doesn't.
There's something awfully familiar about that name. Don't worry, it'll come to me. Well, Thelma?
Well, Mr. Digby?
When it's time for two people to undo the knot and part and go their separate ways, there are really only 3 little words they can say to each other.
Yes, Mr. Digby.
Who gets what? Although we both disagree with Mr. Trump's decision, we must try and behave like adults, and I think we should start by sorting out what's yours and what's mine. Now, I think you ought to have the custody of this.
Oh, no, Mr. Digby, I couldn't. That's ours. We've watched it grow up together. Do you remember that afternoon when I came into your office and said, I'm going to have a potted plant?
I always wanted an aspidistra.
Yes, and I wanted a busy Lizzie.
And then this little fella came along. I must say, we've had a lot of fun with it.
Yes, but we've had some worrying moments, too. Like the time we sat up and watched it when it developed leaf mould.
Thelma, I think you should take it.
Oh, no, no, it's most unfair.
I tell you what, I'll have it Monday to Wednesday. You have it the rest of the week.
All right.
What about the office curtains?
Well, they're as much yours as they are mine. You helped me choose the material.
But you knocked them up on your machine. I think you ought to take them. Make a summer dress for yourself.
You have no privacy, Mr. Digby. I mean, what will you do on Friday afternoons? You don't want the people opposite to see you soaking your feet.
Doesn't really matter, especially since you've taken the basin to keep your groceries in.
I've got it.
Hmm?
Clutterbuck and Groom. It suddenly all flashed in front of me like when you're drowning. Do you know what I mean?
I've never actually drowned.
Well, last year, during that flu epidemic. Now, you remember I was off ill for a fortnight, and you were one of the lucky ones. You didn't even get a sniffle.
Correction, Thelma. You were the lucky one. I had to cope with that temporary secretary the agency sent over.
And what was the name of the agency? Clutterbuck and Groom.
You're right.
You never stopped moaning about her. You blamed her for everything, from losing your personal file to starting the Arab-Israeli war.
She was a silly old cabbage. She should have retired 30 years ago. It was always so embarrassing taking her downstairs at 5 o'clock every day and helping her across the road.
Well, Clutterbuck and Groom dropped you in it once. They'll probably do the same again.
Oh, no, they won't. I've had one of their senior citizens working for me once. Never again. I shall get on to some other agency.
Well, that'll probably be worse. No, there's only one thing to do if you want to keep me. You must phone up Trumper and put your foot down.
Don't, Thelma, don't do anything hasty. Look, it's one thing discussing the state of the weather with him, but quite another telling him how to do his job. No.
Mr. Digby's secretary, can I speak to Mr. Trumper, please?
I do not want to speak to Mr. Trumper. Hello, Mr. Trumper. Be here.
Oh, yes, Digby, what is it?
I think in taking Miss Teasdale away from me, you're disrupting a valuable team. I mean, we work like a well-oiled machine. We function together. You wouldn't think of separating Pyramus from Thisbe, would you?
I might. What department do they work in?
The point is, sir, that Miss Teasdale, I don't think these other people are likely to come up with anybody up to her standards. I mean, she's so on the ball, so dedicated to her work, so...
I'm from Clutterbuck and Groom, the new secretary.
So efficient, so why don't I call you back after lunch? please come in? Take a letter.
A letter? Oh, yes, Mr Digby. Just a moment.
Are you taking your filing system with you, or shall I get rid of it after you've gone?
Mr Digby, would you mind telling Miss Fine that there really is no need for a joint effort?
Well, I am here to find out how the old method works before scrapping it.
You've got a point there, Betty, but don't let's split hairs. Now, I want this letter to go out tonight. Now then.
Oh, allow me.
Dear Mr. Mills, I'm returning herewith your ingenious but woefully impractical rat trap. It has been tested under workshop conditions, but does not prove to be satisfactory. Any future correspondence, please quote our reference number Z2/4A7698. Yours faithfully, etc., etc. Right. Would you read that back, please?
Dear Mr Miles.
Mills.
I am returning herewith your injustice.
Ingenious.
Oh.
Allow me, Mr Digby. Dear Mr Mills, I return here with your ingenious but woefully impractical rat trap. It has been tested under workshop conditions but did not prove to be satisfactory. In future correspondence, would you please quote our reference number Z2/4A7698. Yours faithfully, etc., etc.
Congratulations! How on earth did you manage it?
A photographic memory.
But good Lord, with a memory like that, you should be on the stage in Variety.
How do you feel about being sawn in half?
I suppose you could give a little gift, really. I carry everything round in my head.
Well, you better make your dictations very short in future, Mr Digby. I mean, think of the risk you're taking. You could have the most awful accident at work. And then you'd be laid up for weeks and we'd have no copy on the files.
Excuse me, Betty.
I'm not accident-prone, Miss Teasdale.
Ah, but you never know what might happen. I mean, I saw a film once where a gang blew up Joan Crawford. They put a time switch on her typewriter and they put a stick of gelignite in her roller, and the minute that she pressed her release carriage, there was and a puff of smoke and goodbye, Betty. Joan.
I don't seem to remember that film, probably a bit too young. I assume it was a silent picture. I'll just give this letter a try.
Of course, some men would be taken in by her, but it's all on the surface.
Yeah. How is she on scrambled eggs?
Mr Digby.
Don't tell me, now let me guess. You want to ask me how I like my scrambled eggs?
No, I wondered where I can find some carbon paper.
Oh, really, Miss Fine, it's in the drawer marked carbons.
Which happens to be empty.
Really, Thelma, that's very slack of you, you know. Ought to order stationery on the 1st of the month.
It may interest you to know that on the 1st of the month I was darning your socks, remember?
Where would I find the stationery?
Out of the lift and down the corridor.
Oh, on the right, not the left. Oh, it's too late, she's gone. I hope she doesn't walk straight into the gents.
Well, she'll have to learn the hard way like I did.
You know, Thelma, I must admit this morning I had grave doubts about the way it was going to work out, but she's doing awfully well. I never thought beauty and brains went together, but she has them both.
Well, she's only just started. I bet you she won't look after you the way I have in the last 10 years.
She's got a marvellous eye for detail.
Look, I can see one detail she's overlooked. Look at that button. It's hanging on by a thread. I'll go and get my needle and cotton. Miss Fine, we do not use internal memo paper for external correspondence.
This is an internal memo to the manager. I'm filing a complaint against the lift man.
Well, Fred, but he's awfully nice when you get to know him.
I'm sure there are some women who go for anything in trousers. I happen to be a little more selective.
What did he say?
He didn't say anything, but he has a sign language that speaks volumes. Just because one is young and attractive, it is no excuse to play kneesy-kneesy. Standing up.
Oh, many's the time I've been stuck between floors with Fred and I've never had any trouble.
No, dear, I'm sure you wouldn't. Heaven preserve me from these middle-aged Romeos.
Does this sort of thing happen to you often?
9 times out of 10, and heaven knows I don't invite it. That's why it's such a change to come up against a real gentleman like Mr. Digby.
Ha!
That's the second ha you've come out with this afternoon.
Miss Fine, you are in for a rude awakening.
Mr. Digby?
Don't let that sweet old world charm fool you. I mean, he's towing the line today because you're new, but come tomorrow morning, ha!
Well, it's not the impression I get.
Well, look at me. I'm a veteran of a dozen desk campaigns. If I hadn't picked up a few tricks from Mick McManus on the television, I wouldn't have lasted as long as I have.
I'm sure you're exaggerating.
Well, don't say I didn't warn you.
Thelma, would you come here a minute?
Oh, yes, Mr. Digby.
Don't you want a chaperone?
What?
Just in case.
Oh, no, I'll take this. I'll leave it behind when I go. You may need it. Yes, Mr.
Thelma,
Digby.
I'm just popping down the corridor for about 5 minutes. I'll leave this here.
Oh,
all right?
Righto, Mr. Digby. Take your hands off me! Take your hands off me this minute! No, don't, it'll tear! It's only synthetic fibre! Oh, Mr. Digby, don't! I'm warning you! Oh, honestly, you'd think after a heavy lunch he'd slow down a bit, but he's worse than ever. Oh!
Thelma?
Yes, Mr. Digby?
I thought I asked you to sew this button on.
Oh, well, yes, I thought you'd like to try out Miss Fine.
Oh, that's a good idea. Show her in, would you?
Yes, Mr. Digby. He seems to be working a shift system. He wants you in there now. Now, don't let him get between you and the door. And the best of British luck.
Hello, Betty. Come in. Sit down, would you? I don't know quite how to broach this. It's rather a delicate matter. But I've known Miss Teasdale for many, many years. And from time to time, she does me, what shall I say, a small favour.
Small favour?
Now, it has nothing whatever to do with shorthand typing. And I dare say that a lot of young girls would refuse point blank. Now, I don't pay Miss Teasdale for this little extra service. But between you and me, I think she rather enjoys it. Now, I know what's going on in your mind. You're asking yourself, why am I, a married man, asking you a favour? Why don't I get my wife to oblige? Well, if you knew my wife, you'd realise how laughable that is. She's absolutely hopeless at it. Now, it won't take more than 2 minutes.
That man's an absolute animal. Where do I find the manager?
Oh, Mr. Trumbull, he's on the 6th floor, but he won't see you without an appointment.
He'll see me. Before Ridder-Rat starts wiping out vermin and should see to his own house. Where do I find this, Mr. Trumper?
Oh, you just open any door. That'll be Trumper. He carries a lot of weight up there. Oh, what happened? What did you say to her?
She seems very highly strung. I only asked her to put a button on my jacket.
That you, Digby?
Yes, Sir Digby speaking.
Now, about Miss Teasdale's appointment, you know how much I value your opinion. When I've made up my mind, of course, but still I thought I'd have a word with you about it on the phone first. Well, from next Monday, Miss Teasdale will be working in my office.
You're going to work upstairs for the old man.
Oh!
What's all that noise?
Miss Teasdale, sir, she started to pack.
Oh, enthusiasm. That's what I like to hear. Oh, and by the way, now, how's Miss Vine working out?
Not so much working as out. She's on her way up to see you.
Damn it all, Digby, I don't want the wretched woman bothering me. You should have told her to make an appointment. Honestly, Digby, there are times when you are so slapdash, so ineffectual, so downright stupid, so half-baked.
I'm Betty Vine.
So why don't I ring you back, Roland?
Well, I must say it's brought it home to me, Thelma. These trial separations never work out. I'd never have been able to cope with Betty Vine.
Oh, no. She'll be much better off upstairs as Mr. Trumper's secretary. I wouldn't have been any good up there. Oh, I'm so grateful I'm staying put.
I know you are, Thelma. But really, there's no need every time I ask for a cup of tea to bring me a plate full of fried bacon with it.
Mr. Digby's office? Yes, he's still here. Yes, Mr. Trumper. He's in a good mood.
Hello, Mr. Digby here, sir. No, sir, no. Miss Teasdale and I are still here, hard at it. Miss Vine said what about me? My word, she's got my number all right, hasn't she? Thank you, sir. Good night, Mr. Trumper. Isn't it extraordinary? You work in a place for 20 years, climbing the rungs right down from the mail order room in the basement right up to the corridors of power here on the 4th floor. And all this time, you never really know what impression you're making on people. Do you know that Betty Vine thinks I'm a tiger?
Really? I wonder what gave her that idea.
A tiger! That's how I come across to the girls in this department. A tiger!
Well, Mr. Digby, I shouldn't let it upset you.
Well, I'm not upset. I'm rather pleased, naturally. I mean, when you're past 45, you don't really expect to be taken for a sex symbol anymore. Mind you, there are still times when I can feel the hot blood coursing through my veins.
Yes, like last week when you stood up too quickly after that heavy lunch.
Yes, well, I suppose there are tigers and tigers. I'm one of the domesticated variety. I've had my claws filed down a bit. Even so, a tiger. Back to my lair, I suppose. Good night, Thelma.
Good night, Mr. Digby.